Okay, so this project we're going to be building a radiator cover. So we're going to go in pretty good detail on this. This has been a good product that I've been selling. Been selling a ton of these, probably a third or so in the last month or two. So these are really selling out. And these are pretty confusing sometimes because you have to get the measurements exactly. If you don't trust the client or the client's not comfortable, I also provide sometimes I'll go on site to get the measurements, especially if it's going to be a few covers on a bigger job. I will definitely go on site, especially if they're local. So I like to measure from pipe to pipe, like the picture showed, also from the wall out, and not just the wall, but also take into consideration any window sills or baseboard. And then like the height, I like to go about an inch higher than the cover of the radiator itself, so we have a little breathing room for the heat. So radiators, just so people know if you're not familiar, are just heating systems that we use mainly in older houses, especially in the Northeast. But I've seen them in Florida, North Carolina, and I know they're big in Europe also. So they're just heating systems, and they're not the most attractive things. They're metal pipes, and these just cover them up. These are, I call them functional furniture. So for these, we're going to do the mill process. It's no different than the table. We're going to cut through the table saw. I'm sorry, through the miter saw. You use a jigsaw. Then we're going to go through the jointer to get a straight edge. Then get a final width with the table saw, and then we're going to run through the planer here just to remove any saw marks and just get down the final thickness. And then we're going to use pocket hole joinery to assemble this. We're going to keep it simple, make it fast, but also it's nice and strong with some glue. So we're just going to, like I said, we're going to set up our pocket holes, and then we're going to put a chamfer on each edge here, and then we're going to sand down the 80 grit before we assemble anything. Okay, so for assembly, we're going to be using, like I said, pocket hole joinery. So we're going to have obviously our impact driver. We're going to have some spacers here. These spacers are just going to be used to set up our reveal, our shadow line. We're going to have glue, obviously, a clamp, a square, and I like to use a combination square to get my height for my toe kick on the bottom, for the bottom stretcher and apron. And we're just going to put these together. So there's going to be four for these. For these are going to be the sides. And then the back, front and back will be just the front. We're going to have the bottom and top. The back will be open, so these slide right over top of the radiator from front to back. So you just push right over. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start assembling this using, like I said, a clamp. We're not going to go too tight with the pressure. We don't want to pull it out a square. And we want to make sure we're nice and straight here. And like I said, if you start over tightening or over screwing in, you can pull the whole leg up. You'll see you can pull the whole leg up and pull it out square. So we're just going to like keep nice even pressure, nice even glue squeeze out, and just go real slow with the impact driver. Matter of fact, even a drill works pretty good with this. You can kind of control your torque a little better. So that's what we're doing here. We're just going to assemble this nice and easy, keep it nice and clean, and that's about it. Let's keep going. Okay, so now we have our frame assembled. We're going to start putting in our center divider for the front, and also we're going to put in the side dividers in for each side. So there's going to be 3 altogether. The front one's going to be a little wider. It's going to be about 12 inches in width. We're going to also run each piece through the planer, get it down even thinner than the frame pieces. So these are pretty thin pieces, since you want to have a nice thin profile for your cover, since most Radiator covers are metal. So you're trying to compete with that. You don't want them to be too thick and bulky, because it takes up a lot more space than some people want. And sometimes bigger is not always better. So you want to have a nice thin profile. So that's what we're doing here. We're going to cut our pieces. We're going to run through the planer, and we're also going to use pocket holes for these too. So we're going to use some glue, pocket screws. We're going to run a chamfer like we did on the frame pieces. Let's give it a nice little soft edge. Give it a nice little design feature here. And then we're going to sand down the 80 grit, just like we did the frame pieces. That way everything's sanded initially before we start adding glue, and then we're going to do a final sand later in the video. But right now we're going to assemble our center divider, so we're going to lay it out. So I just do the calculations, and I'm just going to find the center, and then we're going to measure from each side to side to make sure we have an even space, which I believe came out to 20 inches or 22 inches per side or something to that effect. I can't remember, but it came out even, and I'm just going to use a tape measure to make sure everything stays equal, because you don't want to have like a wonky looking or off center divider here. And the center divider also acts as the structure. It gives a little strength to the cover, and that's where I help use to pick up and move around, because this gives a good rigid strength for the sides and the front. So that's what we're going to do here. We're just going to get our measurement, make sure everything lays out correctly, and just use some screws here and some glue and very light clamping pressure. All right, let's keep going. Okay, so we're following the same steps. The only difference with these side pieces are they're obviously not as wide. These are 5.5 inches, and the space on each side, the gap will be 2.5 inches. And we're going to use a clamp here too, just to make sure we keep everything nice and spaced out correctly, since it tries to move. And we're just going to use some glue and pocket screws. Same process. We're going to repeat for both sides. All right, keep going. So this should resemble this one's a little longer, a couple inches longer. Same height, same width, depth, and the top will be the same, except a little longer. So we're going to do our slats next, and then we'll do our top, sand everything down, clean it up, and these will be ready to ship out. Let's go. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the slats. This is a very important part of this project. This can kind of make or break the way your cover looks. So we're going to have this 1-inch spacer block that I'm going to use, and that will be my gap in between each slat. So these slats are kind of a preference thing. So what I like to use is 2.5 to 3 inch wide slats. These in this case, it's going to be 2 5/8 inches, because that's how the math worked out with the gap in between of each center divider. So it was 17.5 inches. If you do the math with a 1-inch gap, it came out to 4 slats, 2 5/8 inch wide. So, and then also the thickness is going to be a ½ inch, but we're going to be a little thinner, so we're going to run through the planer. So I want these to be very thin, and the final length will be 32 inches. So these we're just going to resaw now, and I'll run through the, like I said, you could use a bandsaw, and the bandsaw works good too, but I like the table saw when they're not that big. So now we're going to sand them down, obviously run through the planer, get them nice and smooth, get them nice and clean before we start to put these on. So the assemblies, we're going to be using a brad nail, one on top, one on bottom of each slat. That way, in case if I make a mistake, I can pull it out a lot easier. So I like to use brad nails, and I like to use staples. With the brad nail, I'll just put, like I said, one each side, top and bottom, and then we'll run our spacer, make sure everything is equal layout. In case like I said, if we make a mistake, it's easier to pull it out. So we're just going to lay it out with the wood pattern. I like to kind of, if there's lighter slats of poplar, I like to alternate that with the darker. Just give it a nice little contrast. I really like poplar. It's one of my favorite woods. So like I said, we're just going to use the spacer and make sure we have no unevenness, and just, like I said, put a brad nail on each one. And then when we get our final layout, Then we'll put brad nails and, like I said, staples in each one just to hold it in permanently. All right, that's how it's going to look. These come out real nice and clean. Let's go to the top, sand it all down, and this one's done for the most part. Just gotta sand it a little more, mount the top. Okay, so for the top, we're going to be cutting down to a rough length with the miter saw, and then we're going to take out, since these are longer boards, I don't like to use the jointer. I like to use the track saw to get one straight edge, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to use the track saw to get one straight edge, and then we'll take it into the table saw to get our final width before we lay everything out. I like to mark the side I cut with the track saw so I know that's going to be the side that goes against the fence or the table saw as we run each piece through the table saw to get their final dimensions here. So we're going to run them through the table saw, and then we're going to take them over to the planer, give them down the final thickness, and then we'll get ready for our glue up. Okay, so for our lamination, we're going to be using biscuits and some glue. So this is not necessary. You could just use glue and some cauls. But I like to use the biscuits because it kind of helps me not have to use cauls. And I know when I have a strong, tight, even, flush joint for the most part, especially if there's any bowing. And I also like to, when I set these up, I like to do the whole frown upside down type thing, you know, smiley face where the green one board's facing up, the other side's facing down. It's not 100% necessary, but I do see definitely helps give me a more of a flush um, layout when I start to glue, clamp these in. So you don't want to over clamp these. That's the other thing. Remember to do is don't over clamp because that could definitely bow your wood, especially the thinner diameter. So we're just going to, like I said, put even pressure, get a nice little squeeze out, and let these sit for a little bit. And while I have the biscuit out, I'm going to be putting some slots in, and these are going to be for the tops. So we're going to be using some countersinks for the tops, to mount the top, and also some Z-clips. We're not going to show that because that's going to be done on site. And I typically don't like to video people's houses because usually I'm trying to get in and out, get out of the way. Now we're going to do our final sanding on the frame. We're going to use the detail sander here to get these little crevices. And then we're going to sand up to 120 grit with our orbital sander to get a nice, smooth, even layout. Now we're going to take our top out of clamps, and we're just going to cut down and clean up our top now. And we're just going to use the track saw for this. Makes nice, easy work. Just get our final dimensions, our final length, and then we're going to do a lot of sanding here. Okay, so part of the reason why I'm doing this video is to show you that sometimes the least expected projects and products that you may sell could be your biggest sellers. These radiator covers have been my biggest seller. So you can see we're just cleaning up the top, a lot of sanding, chamfering the feet for preventing tear out, etc. And this project's pretty much done. So just to keep in mind, these are good little pieces of furniture that you never know could be a big seller for you. So keep an open mind when you go into woodworking. There's different things that you will sell that you would never guess that would be something you could make a new product, a new business line for you, which is this is for me. This has been a completely new business for me. All right, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, let me know.